The Whispering House. Prologue. For years, the old Baxter house stood abandoned at the edge of town. People said it was cursed. Every new family that moved in left within months, whispering of strange voices, shadows moving in the dark, and worse. After the most recent family disappeared without a trace, no one dared to go near it again, until now. Chapter 1. The New Owners. Melissa and Tom, newlyweds looking for a fresh start, were excited when they found the deal of a lifetime. The Baxter house, with its large rooms and sprawling garden, was theirs for a price that seemed almost too good to be true. From the moment they stepped inside, Melissa felt uneasy. The air seemed too still, and the house too cold, despite it being a warm summer evening. She tried to shake off the feeling, chalking it up to nerves. On their first night in the house, strange things began happening. Melissa woke up to the sound of soft whispers. At first, she thought it was Tom talking in his sleep, but when she turned, she found him sound asleep, his back to her. She strained to hear the whispers. They were faint, like a distant conversation she couldn't quite make out. And then she realized, they were coming from inside the walls. Chapter 2. The Shadows. The next day, Melissa dismissed the whispers as a trick of the mind. She was tired from the move, after all. But as the days passed, more strange occurrences began to plague the couple. Tom would lose things, only to find them placed in the middle of the room, as if someone was deliberately trying to mess with him. Melissa saw shadows darting just out of the corner of her eye, but every time she turned to face them, they vanished. One evening, Melissa decided to investigate the strange whispers. She pressed her ear to the wall where she thought they were the loudest, in the guest bedroom. This time, the whispers were clearer, as if the walls themselves were speaking. "She's listening, they'll find her." Her blood ran cold. She pulled away from the wall, her heart racing. Who were they? And why did the house feel so alive? Chapter 3. The Secret Room. While exploring the attic one afternoon, Melissa stumbled upon a locked door at the far end of the room. Oddly, there was no keyhole, just an old, rusted handle that looked like it hadn't been turned in years. Curiosity got the better of her, and she pulled the handle. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a small, windowless room. The air inside was damp and smelled of rot. But what caught her attention were the marks on the walls, deep scratches, as if someone had tried to claw their way out. In the center of the room, a dust-covered chest sat. Hesitant, Melissa approached and opened it, revealing old, yellowed papers. They appeared to be diary entries, written in a shaky hand. The dates were from decades ago, and the writing told of a family that lived in the house. The entries grew more frantic, describing how the walls whispered, how the house watched them, and how something was trapped within the walls. The final entry read, "We tried to leave, but it won't let us. The house has taken them, all of them. I am the last, and now it's coming for me." Chapter 4. The Faces in the Walls. That night, Melissa couldn't sleep. The words from the diary swirled in her mind. What did it mean that the house had taken them? Why were the whispers growing louder? At around 3 a.m., she heard it again, the whispers. Only this time, they were louder, clearer. They seemed to be calling her name. Melissa. She shot up in bed, her heart pounding. Tom stirred but remained asleep. The whispering continued, relentless, coming from all directions. She grabbed a flashlight and crept down the hallway, following the sound to the basement door. With trembling hands, she opened it and descended the creaking stairs. As she shone the flashlight around the basement, something in the wall caught her eye, a face. With trembling hands, she opened it and descended the creaking stairs. As she shone the flashlight around the basement, something in the wall caught her eye, a face. Melissa screamed and stumbled back. But as she looked again, the face vanished. It had been in the wall, a pale, contorted face, staring right at her. She rushed back upstairs, heart racing, only to find Tom missing. Chapter 5. The Truth Revealed. Frantic, Melissa searched the house, calling Tom's name, but there was no sign of him. She remembered the diary's final words, "It took them." Her stomach twisted in fear. The house had taken Tom, just like the others. Determined to find him, Melissa grabbed a crowbar and headed back to the guest bedroom. She tore at the walls, ripping away the plaster, revealing the rotting wooden boards beneath. And there, between the beams, she saw them, faces, twisted and trapped, their eyes wide with terror. They were inside the walls, their mouths frozen open in silent screams. Tom, she cried, clawing at the wood, desperate to free him. But it was too late. As she pulled away the last piece of wood, she saw his face, Tom's face, staring back at her from inside the wall, lifeless, his eyes wide with terror. Suddenly, the whispering stopped. The house had taken him, just like the others. Chapter 6, The House Claims Another. With Tom gone, Melissa was alone. The house was silent now, but she knew it was only a matter of time before it came for her, too. The faces in the walls seemed to watch her, their empty eyes following her every move. As the days passed, she grew weaker. The house wouldn't let her leave, and the whispers had returned, louder than ever. One night, as she lay in bed, unable to sleep, she felt the cold touch of a hand on her shoulder. She turned, but no one was there. The walls began to close in around her, the faces pressed closer, and the whispers grew deafening. And then, just as the diary had warned, the house claimed its final victim. Epilogue. Years later, the Baxter house still stands, abandoned and decaying. People say you can hear the whispers if you stand close enough. And if you listen carefully, you might hear Melissa's voice, trapped within the walls, just like all the others before her. No one dares to move in anymore. They know the truth, the house is alive, and it's always hungry for more.